Hello, everyone. Let's begin our practice by relaxing back into our chair, coming into a comfortable seated position that we can get ourselves into. You can turn the palms of the hands to face up if you need more energy, palms face down if you need more calming, more soothing. And then you can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down to the floor. And as always, we take these first few moments of our practice to just fully relax the body, the mind. You can put anything aside that you don't need for the next hour or so of our yoga practice, and just focus on you. Focus on your breath, focus on how you're feeling, and then also focus on how you can make yourself feel even better. So let's start to find our Ujayi breath, breathing in and out through the nose if that's open and comfortable. Feeling the breath in and out of the lower belly region as if you can direct the breath right underneath the navel. So find that slow expansion of the belly as you inhale, and then that slow softening back as you exhale. And then let's add a soothing sound to our breath, the music to our movement. It's as if you're fogging a mirror in front of you, even if the lips are closed. You might feel that vibration along the back of the throat, kind of that warming of the air as it comes in. But also see if you can mimic that sound on the exhale as well. And as we sit here for just another few moments, finding our Ujayi breath, notice any areas of the body that might require modification or even skipping. So always feel free to modify or skip anything that doesn't feel good. Take breaks as needed and just go at your own pace. We always want to make sure the joints are happy. So make sure your joints are happy through your movements and through the poses. Let's start to draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center, symbolizing bringing the sides of the body together right at our heart center. And if you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for your practice, go ahead and do so at this time. And then let's open the eyes if they're closed. Namaste. Good day to you all. Let's sit a little bit forward into our chair, coming into our seated mountain pose where we practice that perfect posture. Shoulders over the hips, pulled down. Head begins to draw back over the tailbone, bottom of the chin parallel to the floor. Engage through those core muscles, kind of that ring of muscles that support, that give the spine a little internal hug or internal squeeze. And then let's relax those arms down by the sides. Keep pulling the shoulders down. Keep tightening up through the belly. And on the next inhale, let's circle the arms out and up. Remember to modify if you need to. And then exhale, hands to the heart. So if you do have any shoulder concerns, feel free to even skip if you need to. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And then one more time. Exhale, hands to the heart, and then hands on to your thighs, seated cow pose, shoulders back, chest forward as you inhale, and then exhale, round through the spine. Drop the head down if that feels good. Inhale, seated cow pose, little arch. Exhale, round, seated cat pose. And then one more time, inhale. Just finding the ease of the movement as best as you can. Exhale, round. And then inhale, let's circle I'll mirror you, your right arm up. Exhale, side bend and circle. So it doesn't have to be too deep of a side bend. Bottom stays firmly planted into the chair. Inhale, other arm up. Exhale, side bend, stretch it out. So moving 2 more times on each side. Remember to find that range of motion that feels good for your body. And then one more time. Exhaling is when you side bend. Inhaling is to sit up tall. And exhaling is when you side bend. Then inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Extend those arms forward. You can separate the hands if that's more comfortable for your shoulders. Draw the shoulders down. Take an inhale. And then exhale, let's twist over to one side to a comfortable twist. Inhale brings you back to center. Exhale over to the other side. So as we move 2 more rounds on your rhythm of breath, bottom half of the body stays still. It's just the upper half of the body that's coming into a gentle twist. And let's also keep spreading those hands, the fingers wide, so you get a nice stretch there. Exhaling is when you twist. Inhale back to center one last time, feeling the shoulders warm up, and then draw yourself back to center. Draw the hands back to your heart, interlace those fingers, and then start to point the palms to face down. So spread those fingers wide. Remember to have a bend in those elbows if that's more comfortable. You're just getting an easy stretch through the forearms, through the wrists. Breathing here. If it is okay on your shoulders to lift the arms just to the height of the shoulders, you can do so. A lot of energy. Keep moving the shoulders down, belly is engaged. And then let's draw those hands back towards us, change the crossing or the interlacing of the fingers, and we'll start first pressing the palms down, still sitting up tall. Keep pulling the head back over the tail. If it feels okay on the shoulders to lift it up, go ahead and do so, or just keep the palms pressing down. Nice. Let's draw those hands back towards us and then release. And then let's find some turns of the hands, just feeling how the wrists are doing for today. Want to make sure we keep those wrists flexible as well. If we do lose our balance and have to catch ourselves, we want to make sure that we can do so easily. And then inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Hands onto the thighs. Separate the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Let's come into a few seated half sun salutes. So inhale, sit up tall, maybe a little arch in the spine if that feels good. Then as you exhale, elbows alongside the body, shoulders draw down as you hinge forward at the hips, coming into a seated forward fold. Inhale, press into the hands, elbows in, rising up halfway. Think of a strong flat back. And then exhale, slowly press the weight back into the hands, come into a seated forward fold. Remember, the depth is up to you. And then inhale, let's press into the hands to rise with a strong flat back as best as you can, arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart and onto the thighs. Inhale, sit up tall, little arch maybe. Exhale, fold it forward, elbows hugging alongside the body. Depth is up to you. Inhale, lifting up halfway, about 45 degrees with the torso. Exhale, release it back down. Lots of weight in it, pressing into the hands. Inhale, rise on up, shoulders draw away from the ears, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, melt it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's rise all the way up, arms out and up, and then exhale, hands to the heart. Take a moment here. Slide the hands underneath your legs and kind of grip underneath your legs very lightly. And then from here, we're going to start to round through the spine. So the arms, you're kind of pulling a little bit on the legs so you get an extra stretch, but keep those feet planted onto the floor. So the lower half of the body stays still, and we're just getting an extra little stretch along the back of the body. And then let's slowly upright. Come back to seated mountain pose. Take an inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Let's return to our Ujayi breath and draw those arms into a cactus shape. Move the shoulders down. And then the elbows are at whatever height feels more comfortable. So if it's easier or more comfortable on the shoulders to keep the elbows a little bit further down from the shoulders, you can. If it is okay to draw the elbows a little bit higher, you can as well. So find what's comfortable and breathing here. I'm just going to pulse here for a few rounds of breath. So inhale, cactus arms, draw a little bit back. And then exhale, they draw just a little bit forward of the shoulders. Inhale to open it up. And exhale to draw them forward. So 3 more rounds on the rhythm of the breath. Really feeling the work of the muscles of the upper back as you draw the elbows back. And then feel the muscles of the chest as you draw those elbows forward. You'll also start to feel some energy in the shoulders as well. 1 more round. And then draw those arms forward and then move them down. Shake them out. And then let's open the arms up. Give yourself a hug. Reach for your shoulder blades. Move the shoulders down. So just getting a nice easy stretch along the muscles of the upper back, little counter stretch for the shoulders as well. And then let's open it up, and then opposite arm on top, kind of our eagle arms, and draw those shoulders down. And then open it up and release, float them back down. Let's scooch back into our chair so we can warm up through the legs, the lower half of the body. Hands underneath one leg, we'll lift it up just so you can start to ease into a few circles with that foot. Always starting off slowly so you can see how that ankle's doing. Change the direction of your foot circle. And then inhale, press it forward, lift those toes, and then exhale, draw the leg in as high as is comfortable, point those toes. Inhale, straighten it out. Exhale, hug it in. And then one more time, warming up the legs. Exhale, hug it in. Let's slowly start to circle that knee in one direction. Size of the circle is up to you and your hips and the happiness of your hips. Change the direction of your circle, opening things up in a very gentle way. Let's move over to the other side. First, picking up the leg, shoulders draw down. You can lean back into your chair, and let's first find a few circles with that foot, with that ankle. Change the direction of your foot circle. You might notice that one ankle might feel a little bit more open, more flexible than the other, and that's common. Inhale, press it forward, toes draw back towards you. Exhale, draw it in, point the toes towards the floor. A couple more times, moving on the breath, noticing anything there's to notice, any little tight spots. And then let's go into our knee circles. Feeling the openness of the hips to your point of comfort. Change the direction of your knee circles. And then let's place the feet down onto the floor. Press your back into the mat. Start to engage strongly through the belly. Hands can be on the seat of the chair for support, or you could just relax them alongside the chair. And let's start to float both legs towards straight. We'll turn the toes to point and then start to really feel the squeeze of the lower belly. We're just going to hold here for a couple more rounds of breath. If at any time you start to feel this in the lower back, you can release the feet down. Feel free to take as many breaks as you need. One more inhale, and then exhale, slowly release it down. And then if you want, you can shake it out. And then let's return to straighten those legs. And this time we will separate the legs into just kind of a narrow V shape. Breathing here, really feel the squeeze of the lower belly. Toes point up towards the ceiling, hands under the chair or on the seat of the chair for support if you need it. Just feeling some energy, some heat building in the legs, in the core. And then we'll slowly release those feet down. Let's give it a little bit of a shake. Let's scooch a little bit forward into our chair. Draw the feet and the knees together, and then sit up tall, hinge it back any amount, and then maybe straighten both legs. But you can keep the feet relatively low. You can keep a soft bend in the knees. Try to keep that elongation of the spine, strong flat back. Remember, you can have your hands underneath the chair for support or extend those arms forward, a little balance work as well. One last round of breath here, and then pull yourself forward. You can round forward or do a little sway side to side if that feels good. And then one more time, feeling the work of the legs, the hip flexors, the belly. Inhale to sit up tall. Exhale, hinge it back. Really feel the squeeze. And then maybe straightening the legs, maybe separating the legs into that V shape, maybe the arms as well. Breathing here. Lots of work for those legs. Keep that lift in the chest. And then go ahead and release. Keep those feet wider than the hips. Let's come into a supported forward fold. Forearms onto the thighs. Relaxing forward. Maybe even breathing into the back of the body, into the lower back if that feels good. If it feels good to release the head or find a little movement into the head, you can. And then when you're ready, let's slowly roll it on up the spine, hands onto the legs, elbows in, pull the belly in, slow roll it on up. And then you can walk those feet back Option 1, if you prefer to stay in your chair the whole time, hinge forward at the hips, press into the heels. Make sure the knees don't go past the toes and they track towards the center of the toes. Squeeze the leg muscles, and then let's come. Would like to come all the way up to a standing position. Same thing, hinge forward at the hips, strong flat back. Press into the heels to rise on up. Pause, and then to come back down, hinge forward at the hips, draw your bottom back behind you, and slowly release into your chair. Remember, knees track towards the center of the toes and don't go past the toes. So we'll do up to 5 times, or however many feel appropriate for your body. Taking as much time as you need. Remember, the slower you go, the more strength you can build, and also a little balance too if you're coming all the way up. All right, and then after however many feel appropriate for your body, please come to a standing position carefully behind your chair. If you prefer to just stay in your chair for today, you're welcome to. Just do as much of the poses as you can. All right, so let's stand behind our chair. I'll give you the side view. So let's find ourselves in our standing mountain pose. So you can have all 10 toes pointing as forward as you can. Feet are about hip bone distance apart. Engage through those thighs, through the belly, those core muscles. Draw the shoulders down. And then let's draw those arms forward or forward and up, depending on how your shoulders are doing, palms facing each other. And then as you exhale, soft bend in the knees. Draw your bottom back behind you, almost like you're going to sit down into a chair, and then draw those arms back behind you. So keep that nice, strong, flat back. So inhale, press into the heels to rise on up. Lift those arms to a comfortable height. And then exhale, draw your bottom back behind you, hinge forward at the hips, soft bend in those knees. Doesn't have to be too low. Inhale is to lift. Feel the stretch of the front of the body, and then exhale. Let's bend those knees, draw the hips back. Remember about the knees, making sure they don't go past the toes and they track towards the center of the toes. And then last time down here. And then inhale, let's lift, stand up tall. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's draw those hands onto our hips and draw the thumbs towards each other and the elbows drop back. Let's draw the shoulders down. Press your tailbone down, lengthen through the lower back, soft through the buttocks, and then maybe you're just staying here, neutral position the spine, keeping the rib cage pulled in, or maybe you're starting to do just a tiny little upper back bend, maybe looking up, maybe feeling a nice stretch along the front of the throat. Breathing here, still energetic with those elbows drawing back behind you to a comfortable point. And then let's slowly release. Let's place the hands onto the chair. And then from here, we'll slowly step the left foot back. Let's come into Warrior One base. So separate the heels, hip bone distance apart. Right toes pointing forward, bend the right knee to stack and track. Left toes angled to the outside of the chair. And then let's slowly start to upright the spine, shoulders over the hips. You're welcome to keep the hand on the chair for balance if you need it. If you would like, you can draw those arms forward or forward and up. Pull the shoulders down, palms facing each other. Taking a moment here, just sitting in our Warrior One, finding the power of the pose, making sure the alignment is still there. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, let's release those fingertips down. So hinge forward at the hips, any amount until you can reach your fingertips down onto the chair. And you're always welcome to move the chair a little bit closer to you if you need to. So draw the shoulders down. Let's draw the right hand onto the hip. So left hand stays onto the chair. Draw the elbow to point a little bit back behind you. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, we're just twisting the upper half of the body a little bit to the right. So really it's just the shoulders, the chest, turning the head, maybe a little of the rib cage. But your right hand is on your hips to make sure that the hips don't twist. So we want the lower half of the body to stay nice and stable. And turning the head to a comfortable point. Maybe that's just keeping the face pointing forward. So find what works best for you. And then we'll slowly release. Come back forward, right hand back onto the chair, and we'll step it forward. Let's move over to the other side. We'll set our Warrior One on this side. Step the right foot back. Heels of the feet about hip bone distance apart. Right toes angled to the outside of the chair. Bend the left knee, stack it, track it, freeze it. And then when you're ready, you can upright the spine. Maybe stay here with the hands onto the chair, or maybe you're adding the arms. And then take a few rounds of breath here. See if you can find that deep Ujayi relaxing breath. So our Ujayi breath can be used to relax us or to energize us as well. See if you can make a nice deep relaxing breath here, since we're just in a stable position or a static position. Take another inhale, and then as you exhale, release, hands down, hinging forward at the hips as much as you need to until you reach the chair. So long spine, strong, flat back. Let's keep the right hand where it is, left hand onto the hip. Draw the elbow back behind you, move the shoulders down. That left hand keeps that hip right where it is. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, we're just slowly turning the chest and the shoulders and the head just a little bit over to the left. And it doesn't have to be too deep of a twist. Make sure that front knee still stacks and tracks. Breathing, looking to a comfortable point. If it feels good to look a little bit back behind you to get an easy stretch for the neck, you can, but just do what feels good for your body for today. Lots of core work here, leg strength and balance. Let's slowly untwist, release it forward, left hand back onto the chair, and then let's step it back to right behind the chair. Separate your feet a little bit wider than the hips. Inhale, arms up. And then exhale, soft bend in those knees, hands onto the chair, forearms onto the chair, coming into a supported forward fold where we find some roundness in the spine. Upper half of the body, the weight is onto the top of the chair. And if it feels good to start to bend one knee and straighten the opposite leg, if that feels good, little twist for the hips, you can do so. But if you do have any hip concerns, then just come into stillness and take a few rounds of breath to get a nice stretch for the back of the body. And then let's come back to center, bend both knees, pull in the belly. So using the front part of the core so the back of the body doesn't have to do anything. Hands onto the chair, elbows in, and slowly roll your way on up. Let's go ahead and step those feet a little bit closer together. And then from here, we'll start to lift the left leg back behind us any amount. So we're not hinging forward at the hips. We're keeping that upright spine. The shoulders are stacked over the hips. Head is a relatively neutral position. And just finding the balance here. See if you can keep those left toes pointing forward so they're not opening out to the side. And if you feel comfortable, maybe you're just leaving a couple fingers. We're just standing on one leg for a moment. If your hands are lifted, place the hands back onto the chair and then reach the left toes back and a little bit to the left. So we're landing in our high crescent base. So all 10 toes pointing as forward as you can. Then the right knee stack, track it, and freeze it. And even if your left foot is kind of way on the outside of the chair, that's fine too, as long as you are able to still reach the chair. So let's take an inhale here. Stay for the exhale. Maybe you're staying here. It's a really good test for our balance. Maybe you're staying with the hands onto the chair. If you feel comfortable lifting the arms up and pulling the shoulders down, you're welcome to do that. Find what works best for your body, where you stay in a safe position. Remember, thinking about the position of the right knee. Take another inhale, and then exhale. Release fingertips down, hinge forward at the hips. So same thing that we did with our warrior one. Now we're coming into a twist. Left hand stays where it is, right hand onto the hip. Draw the elbow a little bit back behind you. Bottom half of the body stays stable. Take an inhale. And then exhale, returning the head, the shoulders, and the chest. Just enough to the right. Little twist. Breathing here. Really working the legs a little bit more. And then let's slowly unwind and twist. Right hand back down. And then let's stand tall into, that was my ankle, the right leg. Engaging tightly through the core, through those belly muscles. Take a moment, maybe play with the balance if you feel comfortable doing so. And then standing back. Shake it out. You should have felt some work happening in that outer right hip. Good stabilization work for the hips. Let's move over to the other side, standing tall. In the left leg, right leg draws back any amount. So we don't want it so far back that we're overarching through the spine. We want to keep that neutral position in the spine, strong in the core, and then take a moment here. See where the balance is for today, which might be different from yesterday or might be different from earlier or later today. Experience those nice wiggles That shows that your body is working hard to find balance. And then let's place the hands down, reach that right leg back and a little bit over to the right. So have the feet at least hip bone distance apart or even a little bit wider. And then let's come into high crescent base. Bend the left knee, stack, track it, and freeze it there. And then right leg is strong, all 10 toes pointing as forward as you can comfortably. And let's take a full round of breath here. Maybe experience some wiggles and just kind of getting used to those wiggles, getting used to being a little uncomfortable. And then maybe staying here or maybe adding the arms. To your comfortable height, move the shoulders down. Find your Ujayi breath. Notice where your mind is. If it is wandering, you can bring it back to watching, experiencing your breath. Take another inhale and then exhale, release, fingertips down. Hinge forward at the hips as much as you need to reach the chair. The more you hinge forward, the more strength work you will get for that outer left leg. Right hand stays where it is, left hand onto the hip, and then draw the elbow and the thumb a little bit back behind you. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, we're just twisting any amount that feels like a mild sensation of a twist. Breathing here. So it doesn't have to be too much. Find what works best for your body. And then let's slowly unwind. Place that left hand back, shoulders square to the top of the chair, and then we'll stand tall in the left leg. So we're not hinging forward at the hips, not coming into warrior three, just standing on one leg. Maybe playing with the balance if you feel safe and comfortable to do so. And then release the hands down, shake it out. I'm going to move my chair so I am facing you. And then I will mirror you. Let's separate those feet. Now coming into more of our warrior two series so we can really feel the stretch of the inner legs, the work of the outer legs. And breathe here. So we'll start with our neutral wide leg position. All 10 toes pointing as forward as you can, making sure you're not collapsing through the arches. So really feel all four corners of the feet. Feel the outer edge of the feet, outer edges of the feet. Let's have our hands onto the chair, about shoulder width distance apart if you can, depending on your chair. Shoulders drop back, elbows pulled in. Take an inhale. As you exhale, engage through those thigh muscles. Hinge forward at the hips. So strong, flat back. You're hinging forward until you feel a mild sensation of a stretch along the back of the legs. We don't want anything too deep. And then inhale, press into the hands to rise back up. And when you press into the hands, feel that your hips are drawing back in underneath you and your shoulders are drawing wide over the hips. So let's take another inhale. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. You might feel the sensation of your bottom drawing back behind you, but we don't want it too far back. And then inhale, press, lift, and then press those hips forward. Let's do that one more time. Exhaling is to hinge forward, strong flat back, long in the neck, and then inhale is to come up. Nice. And then have a soft bend in those knees. We'll turn the toes out just a few degrees. So not to 45, so just a little bit, maybe about 5 degrees, coming into our little side lunges. Start to bend. You can start to bend your right knee, shift the hips a little bit to the right. So side lunge, make sure that right knee doesn't go past the toes and is tracking towards the direction of the center of the toes, and then come back and then over to the other side. So if you do find as we go side to side that your knee is really pressing forward of the toes, which might be very uncomfortable, think of drawing your bottom back behind you, almost like you're coming into chair pose. So as you bend the knee, you hinge forward at the hips, bottom draws a little bit back behind you. And then one more time. Nice. Let's come back to center. Draw all 10 toes to point forward once again. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Extend those arms forward as you inhale, and then exhale. Just the upper half of the body twists a little bit to the right. So make sure the lower half of the body, make sure the hips aren't twisting and the knees aren't twisting, because that can be very uncomfortable for the joints. Next, inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Just a nice, easy twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist. Remember your hip points stay forward. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist. And then let's come back to center. Release those arms down. Inhale your right arm out and up. Exhale, easy side bend and circle. Over to the other side, really strong in the legs. So base of the body doesn't change. That way we can keep those joints safe. It's just the upper half of the body. Remember to modify or skip if you do have any shoulder concerns or any other concerns, and then over to the other side. Even just standing with a wide leg stance, it's a lot of energy for the legs. You'll get some good stretch. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, soften in the knees, hands onto the chair, hinge forward at the hips, wide leg forward fold. Forearms can be onto the top of the chair. And if it feels good to just get a little wiggle left and right of those hips. Nice. And then let's place the hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in, press your way back up. And then let's lift the heels as high as is comfortable. Maybe it's just a micro inch. Maybe playing with the balance, maybe just keeping a couple fingers onto the chair. And then notice if the head comes forward, how much that affects your balance. Working those legs and those ankles, the feet, hands down, and then heels down. Let's lift your right heel, externally rotate at the hips of the right toes and the right knee points to the right, warrior two base. Heel to arch alignment, draw those left toes in, then bend the right knee, stack, track it and freeze it, and then upright. Feel a stretch to that inner right leg. So your shoulders and your hips, as best as you can, are parallel to the top of your chair. And then when you're ready, let's open up the arms. Don't forget about this back foot, draw it in a little bit. So you can leave a hand onto the chair for balance if you need it, or extend both arms, maybe turning your head to the right, taking a total of 3 full and deep rounds of breath here. Notice where your mind is wandered. Notice if your head is drawing forward. Try to keep it over that tailbone. Think of a really strong warrior. And then let's release those hands down, straighten the right leg, turn all 10 toes to point forward, and then let's move over to the other side. Lift your left heel, externally rotate. Find that nice opening of the inner thigh. Your left toes point out to the side, left knee points out. Stack the knee, track it towards the center of the toes, freeze it there. Back leg is strong. Draw those back toes in slightly to mimic the same angle as your hips. And then when you're ready, 1, 2, or 0 arms lift. Maybe the gaze is over, softly over your left hand, and breathing here. Finding any wiggles, that means you're working on your balance. One last round of breath. And then let's slowly release the hands down. Straighten the left leg, turn all 10 toes to point forward. Inhale is to lift. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips, soft bend in the knees if you need it, and find the depth of your forward fold that fits your body. Let's bend those knees. Roll it on up. Hands on the chair for support. Elbows in. Let's come into a little flow. So back to your right leg is your lead leg. Let's lift the heel, open it up. Draw your back toes in. So find your warrior two, strong warrior two stance. Freeze that knee in that perfect position. Maybe 1, 2, or no arms lift, whatever feels good for you. Inhale, reverse your warrior. If it feels good, you can continue to circle the arm in front of the face, or you can skip that part. And then exhale, side angle pose, that little shift of the shoulders towards that front leg. Hand is onto that top thigh, and the opposite arm draws forward and down, if that's okay on the shoulders. So inhale, reverse. So base of the body stays still. It's just the upper half of the body that's moving. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, reverse. And then exhale, side angle. Let's come back to center. Inhale, both arms out and up as you straighten both legs. Remember, modify if you need to. And then exhale, let's come into triangle pose. Draw those hips back as you slowly release your right arm forward, reaching as far forward as you can with that long spine, and then relaxing it down, maybe onto the thigh or maybe onto the chair. Turn that top palm to face forward and move the shoulders down. Make sure you're not locking out the knees. We're engaging through the thighs, coming into your triangle pose. Maybe the gaze is up or forward or down, whatever feels good for the neck. Feel the work of that top side waist. There should be a constant squeeze the whole time. That'll help to keep that length in the spine and to avoid us from side bending too much. And then to come out of the pose, let's slowly release this top arm back and down as you bend through your front knee. Come back to warrior two, and then hands down, straighten up, come back to that neutral wide leg position. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart, resetting, refreshing so we can move to the other side. Lift the left heel, externally rotate. Find the left toes and left knee pointing to the left, stack, track it, and freeze the left knee. Draw those right toes slightly in. Upright the spine, shoulders over the hips. Extend the arms out, pull the shoulders down. Warrior two. So really set and find your base so that it can stay steady. And then let's flow a little bit. Flip your left palm, inhale, reverse your warrior. If it feels good on the shoulders, you can continue to circle that arm in front of your face. And then exhale, side angle pose. Feel the shoulders shift, hand onto the thigh, and then maybe this back arm reaches up and circles forward and down. Inhale, engage to the sideways, reverse. And then exhale, side angle pose, going at your own speed, at your own pace. Inhale, reverse, strong in the legs, strong in the breath. Exhale, side angle. It's our last time in side angle. Now let's upright, inhale, both arms lift up, straighten both legs. And then exhale, let's come into triangle pose. Move those hips back and up. Reach now your left arm out to the left as if someone's pulling you to get lots of length. And then we can no longer reach. Just settle that hand very lightly onto the leg or onto the chair and turn the top palm to face forward and moving the shoulders down. Coming into your triangle pose. Breathing here. Looking wherever feels most comfortable. Feel the engagement of the side waist the entire time. So lots of good side core work. And then to come out of the pose, we'll slowly release this top arm down as you start to bend through your front knee, upright, come back to warrior two, and then hands down, straighten both legs. Inhale to lift. Exhale, soft bend in the knees, fold it forward. Maybe forearms onto the top of the chair, or maybe you're kind of just relaxing onto the top of the chair. Whatever feels good for your mild sensation of a stretch. To release the back of the body as well. And then bend those knees. Let's place the hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in, press to slowly roll on up. Feel those hips come underneath you, and then the shoulders kind of unravel to stack over the hips. And then when we get back upright, let's start to step those feet a little bit closer together and shake it out. And then from here, we have those feet as close together as possible. Let's start to lift those heels any amount. More balance, more strength work. As you're lifting those heels, notice if you're starting to pitch forward. Keep trying to have those shoulders over the hips, head over the tailbone, as if somebody is just lifting you straight up. Remember, hands can stay on the chair for the whole time if you'd like. Find a nice stretch there, and then slowly release it back down. Now let's have a soft bend in those knees. Rock your weight back towards those heels. Hands will stay on the chair so you don't fall back behind you. Little hinge forward at the hips to find that balance point. And then let's lift the toes, maybe the balls of the feet. And maybe you're playing here with a little balance, making sure that if you do find yourself losing your balance, step one of the feet back behind you to catch yourself, or place your hands down, keep them onto the chair. Nice. And then let's slowly upright. With the hands onto the chair, let's start to draw I'll mirror you, your right leg out to the side. Turn the right toes to point forward. Doesn't have to be too high, any amount. You can have a soft bend in that standing left leg, and just finding our balance here. breathing. Make sure those toes don't turn out. We want them to keep pointing forward. So we're really working that outer leg, finding your balance here. And then let's set that foot down. Come back to center and then over to the other side. Doesn't have to be very high, any amount out to the side. Shoulders stay over the hips so we're not leaning as a counterbalance. And then finding your balance here. Finding your Ujayi breath. And then let's slowly release, shake it out. And then our last balance pose, I'm just going to move the chair so you can see, is our standard tree pose. So we did a lot of balance work. We might have used a lot of those muscles in our legs, so they might be a little tired, but do the best that you can. Modify if you need to. Let's have your left leg as a standing leg. Lift the right heel, open it out, and find your tree pose. Maybe you're staying with the toes down. Maybe you're starting to slide the foot up a little bit higher. Maybe you're keeping a hand onto the chair. Maybe your hands are at their heart. Lots of options depending on how you feel for today. Find your Ujayi breath. Use a deep Ujayi breath to settle into the pose. Let's slowly release it on down. Shake it out and let's move over to the other side. Standing up tall. Engage through those core muscles. And then when you're ready, lifting the heel, turning the knee out just enough so you can place the heel on the inside of the ankle. Remember, hips point forward. And then finding where you feel a little challenged, but where you still are safe on this side. Using that Ujayi breath to keep the mind and the body calm. All right. And then let's slowly release and shake it out. Nice work, everyone. So when you're ready, let's carefully come back to a seated position in our chair so we can do our grounding poses. Let's sit a little bit closer towards the front edge of the chair. We'll draw the feet and the knees together, and then let's cross. I'll mirror you, your right leg on top of the left. If crossing the legs is uncomfortable, you can just cross at the ankles as well. We'll take an inhale, sit up tall, and then exhale, let's come into a twist. So we're turning shoulders, chest, and ribs over to your right. And you're welcome to stay relatively high with the forearm onto the leg for support. If you can hinge it forward a little bit without rounding through the spine, so we want to keep that lift in the spine, then you can start to draw the chest a little bit forward. We're still getting that little twist, and maybe you're hooking your left elbow either to the outside of your right leg or just right on top, coming into a prayer twist. Still think of lengthening through the spine, and maybe you're pressing the palms together and you're pressing your right hand into the left just to get a little bit more of a twist. Keep moving the shoulders down and elbows are relatively relaxed. So a little bit deeper of the twist if you'd like. Breathing here. You might even feel a little stretching sensation on the hips. And then to unwind, we'll first release those hands and then twist back or untwist to come forward and then press your way back up. And then while we're here, let's come into our thread the needle pose. So option one, if you do have any joint concerns, is just to release that right foot down, separate the feet, slide the right foot forward of the left, and relax forward. If the joints feel good to go into thread the needle pose, you'll just slide your right ankle atop the left thigh above the knee. Try to keep that ankle bone to the outside of the leg. Flex the foot, so toes to knee the whole time. And then maybe staying here, or maybe you're just kind of rounding forward with the weight on the leg that is touching the floor, so not on the floating knee. Or folding forward as much as feels comfortable to you to get that mild sensation of a stretch on the outer leg. So find what works best for your body, where your body feels is still safe, especially with the joints, and just feels like a nice easy stretch. And we'll breathe here. Still finding your Ujayi breath. Now we're using the breath to relax, to soothe, to maybe deepen the stretch, or maybe not. And then let's slowly press our way back up. Let's release back to sit up tall with the knees together and the feet together. And let's move over to the other side. Cross your left thigh over the right, or cross left ankle over the right ankle. Sit up tall. We'll first start with the shoulders over the hips. Take an inhale. Then as you exhale, shoulders and chest over to the left. So maybe you're just staying here into your twist. If you're able to comfortably go a little bit deeper, you'll hinge forward at the hips. So we're not rounding through the spine. Maintain that strong flat back to start. And then you can place your right elbow onto your left thigh. Join the palms, and then use your left hand just to very gently press into the right to deepen the twist, only if that is okay on your body. Relaxing the shoulders, the elbows, breathing here. This is our prayer twist. But make sure you're just going to a mild sensation point where you can still breathe deeply. So we don't want to go too far where we can't find that full Ujayi breath. Nice. And then let's slowly release the palms if they're pressed, untwist, and then come back to upright. And then let's move into our hip opener. Option 1, separate the feet wider than the hips. Step your foot forward. Option 2, if the joints feel good, to come into thread the needle pose, cross ankle over the thigh above the knee, ankle bone to the outside of the leg, flex through the foot. So knee up to the toes up to the knee, and then maybe fold forward or stay up high. So find what works best for your body. I'm just taking a few more deep rounds of breath here, finding the depth of your pose for that mild sensation of a stretch. You'll also feel a stretch along the back of the body as well. And then as you're ready, let's slowly come back up. Let's release the feet, and let's separate the feet a little bit wider than the hips. You really can feel the feet plant firmly down onto the floor. We're sitting up tall. We're taking an inhale. And then as you exhale, if it is okay on your neck to do so, let's slowly lean the head over to one side. And then maybe you're relaxing the arms down, or maybe you're keeping the hands onto the thighs. So find your stretch, feeling a nice, easy sensation along the outside of the neck. But we want to keep those shoulders over the hips. Find that the neck is getting that stretch. And then let's slowly upright. We'll slide the hands back onto the thighs. Take an inhale, still sitting up tall, still engaging through those core muscles. Exhale very gently over to the other side, finding your mild sensation of a stretch. If you want a little bit more, you can relax the arms down. Find what works best for your body. As we just take another round or two of breath here. That one always feels so good. And then let's slowly upright the spine. Interlace the fingers, but we'll keep the palms facing us, and we'll just separate the palms and start to, almost like you're carrying a big beach ball right in your arms. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, round through the spine. So engage the core to support the lower back. So feel that squeeze of the front part of your core, the abdominal muscles, to get a nice stretch along the back of the body. And then we'll use that core to upright. Change the interlacing of the finger, same thing. Separate those palms, get a nice stretch for the hands and the fingers. Widen out the elbows like you're holding a big beach ball. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, use the core. So feel that engagement to the front part of the core so we can stretch out the back. And you're dropping the head to a comfortable height, whatever feels good. Lots of work here for those frontal abdominal muscles. And then let's slowly use the core to upright. Release the hands down. Let's walk the feet together, knees together. Walk the hands back behind you so you can plant the heels onto the seat of the chair somewhere. Fingertips can be pointing out or away from each other or back behind you, just kind of depending on how your wrists are doing and what type of chair you're using. Coming into our fish pose. So we'll inhale to sit up tall and then exhale, lean it back. So my arms are relatively straight. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades towards each other just to get some nice lift of the chest, only going to the point that feels good to your body. Keep drawing those inner legs together so they don't just kind of flop open. Some energy here for our fish pose. And then maybe you're looking up or finding the head in whatever comfortable position feels good. Getting a nice stretch for the chest and the shoulders. Take one more round of breath here. And then let's slowly come back up. Let's scooch back into our chair so we can rest our back against the chair, coming into our final pose of Shavasana. Let's have the feet just flat onto the floor, whatever kind of distance apart feels good. You can turn the palms of the hands to face up for more energy, palms down for more calming, more grounding. You can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down. Let's take an inhale. Exhale out the mouth. And I will be playing the sound of the chimes. So if you do find that your mind is wandering, you can affix your mind onto the sound of the wind chimes. And enjoy these next few minutes of your Shavasana. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Send some movement into the fingers, into your toes. You can even stretch the arms. And then let's stack the hands atop our heart to take a moment of gratitude, whether that's to yourself for coming to your practice or to anyone else or anything else that you are grateful for in your life. Feel that in your heart. Then let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. As always, it is a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Oh, thank you, everyone. Hope you continue to be well and stay safe, and we'll see you next time.